time. Something has got to happen because we can no longer go down the path that we're going down. This country won't last another 6 months. This country won't last another 12 months if something doesn't happen. So it's time to flip the switch. It's time to get involved. It's time to move the line forward. And if you're not part of the solution, then you're part of the problem. So I don't care what flip the switch is. I don't care if that means that all of this nonsense is nonsense, or if some of it's true. All right, welcome, Warriors, World Patriots, and my fellow Americans. My name is Mike. I'm the host of Liberty Warrior. Give me liberty or give me death. When tyranny becomes law, rebellion becomes duty. It is July the 5th, 2022. Feels like a Monday, but it's actually a Tuesday. Hope everybody had a wonderful Independence Day yesterday. I know it was a pretty crazy weekend for me. Lots to do, lots of things to see. Saturday, I actually went and met Kayla Dunn in person. Kayla Dunn, if you remember, we had her here on the show. I don't know, it was probably about 4 to 6 weeks ago. She was running for a state representative or congresswoman position here in the great state of Idaho. I think it was a state representative. Anyway, she invited me to come down to a barbecue in the park and live music Saturday. So Cammie and Noah and I went down there, and I got to meet her personally. What a wonderful lady. looking forward to having her on here real soon. So, I'll have to reach out to her and see when we can get her scheduled, but definitely going to have Kayla back. She found out a lot of things running for a political office that I think she can enlighten a lot of us too. So, with that being said, some housekeeping to take care of tonight. Let me tell you guys, I woke up this morning, and to be honest with you, I'm very frank with you, pun intended here shortly, is I didn't really pay attention to the silver prices over the weekend, but I'm looking at it right now. Spot price on silver is $19.26 an ounce. If you guys are in the market of getting your hands on a little bit of silver, now is the best time I could possibly tell you. Some experts anticipate possibly it dropping down to around 15, which would be even a better buy. But while it's under 20, not a bad time to buy. Info at milesfranklin.com, promo code Liberty Warrior Nation. You guys reach out to Andy and his team. They can help you through the process. And of course, some of those proceeds do go to Liberty Warrior Nation here to help us stay running. But I'm telling you, at under $20 an ounce, it is a great time to buy if you can afford to. If you can't, totally understand. Why is it getting cheaper? It's because of the big banks and the market. They're selling their shorts right now. What are shorts? Well, it's not physical silver. It's actually just paper silver, and they're selling and getting out right now, which is driving the cost down. So I got to reach out to Andy and get him scheduled to come on again so he can explain some of this to us. But man, I'm telling you, if you guys are interested, check Andy and his team out. It's, I think when I bought it, it was around 21 or 22, which still wasn't bad. So what is spot price? Well, 1926, and then whatever his markup above spot is, if that's $4 or $5, then it's 1926 plus that markup, and that's what you guys pay per ounce. All right, one other thing I want to catch real quick. Thank you so much, Carlene and Chase, for buying me a coffee tonight. I know you guys hit that during part of the intro, and I do appreciate that. We pray God continues to bless this channel and all who are a part of it. Thank you and love you so much. Love you guys too, Carlene and Chase. You guys are always here each and every night and during devotions. So appreciate that. I've got two special ladies with me tonight. They're they're in the back room wondering if I can hear them. I haven't brought them out yet. So we've got a lot of updates to talk about from Arizona, and there are going to be some big updates. So you guys are going to want to hang on for this one. A lot of good information. We're hoping that we don't have to take tonight's show down because some of the stuff we'll talk about tonight is going to be, well, I know that we've all been paying attention to it for quite a while, but I think it's getting really, and I mean really close. So I'm going to let Rosemary update us on that. Trying to think if there's anything else that I needed to cover. It's just been a busy last few days. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and bring our guest in. We've got Deborah and we've got Rosemary from Affidavit Mamas with their updates. How are you wonderful ladies tonight?
Doing well. Rosemary was saying she was having trouble hearing you. Can you hear now, Rosemary?
I hope so, because we worked on it before the show.
I don't know.
Well, let's see. Can you hear us now, Rosemary?
Yep, I got it. I had to leave and go back out and come back.
Okay. All right. You got to love the technology. At least, hey, you sound great tonight, and you can hear me, and you can hear Deborah. So that's all a win-win.
Great.
We're good. We're good.
All right, ladies. Well, Rosemary, I'd like to save the updates out of Arizona for the end of the show if we can. I know that you guys have a lot of other stuff that you'd like to give us an update on and some pretty interesting happenings. My phone was actually blowing up during the intro with more information coming in. I've been getting a lot of information in the last, I don't know, 3-4 days A lot of stuff happening out there that we've been paying attention to, and I think we'll brush on a little bit of that toward the end of the show. The conversation that you and I had, Rosemary, we'll
Mhm.
kind of go over that toward the end of the show. But I'll let either one of you fine ladies kick this thing off. Whatever you guys would like to start with.
Well, Rosemary, why don't you set us up and we'll go from
Okay,
there.
that's crazy. I can't hear Deborah.
Uh-oh, no.
You go ahead, Deborah.
Okay. All right. Well, we've been extremely busy writing notices for various different things. Everybody knows that Roe versus Wade was reversed by the Supreme Court.
Mhm.
And all that means is that the decision now goes back to the states. That all of the hullabaloo from all of the protests is just nonsense, because it has to go back to the states, and the states have to make those decisions. And a lot of the states, I think it was 26, automatically, as soon as Roe was overturned, they had abortion law ready to go into place.
Mhm.
And it's different by the state. Some of them it's no abortions, some of it's allowing it up to 15 weeks. But anyway, so we have notices going out to all the states in a jot form related to that one. And we had that ready to go the minute that the decision came down. So that was the first thing that we did.
Well, let me touch on that real quick there, Deborah.
Okay.
Because a lot of people say, well, the Supreme Court doesn't have any power, and the Supreme Court decision doesn't really do anybody any good. I disagree with all that. I think the Supreme Court does have a lot to do with it. I think the Supreme Court is the third branch of the government, and it's very important that we have the Supreme Court. So what it did throw the power back to the states, and I think that it does save a lot of lives, because a lot of states jumped on board right away. South Dakota being one of them as well. They already had those laws already ready to go as soon as the Supreme Court handed down their decision. That doesn't mean that people can't travel. I understand that. I'm not ignorant to that. Some people will travel no matter what. I know that Pelosi put out statement that she thinks that some companies should provide that as part of a benefit package for their employees to actually pay for the traveling expenses for women to travel across state lines to get that done. I disagree with that 100%, but I'm not the business owner. So really, truthfully, that's, I guess, if that's a package that they want to put together for people, so be it. Now, what I think it will do, and this is only my opinion, I think there will be some women that will look at that and maybe it will help change their mind. Maybe some women won't be so quick to rush down to the nearest Planned Parenthood, or should we call it more like Planned Death clinic,
Death camps. Yes.
and death camps, and get that done. So I think it'll slow the process down. It's not gonna completely shut it down by any means, but I think we're, at least in my opinion, we're headed in the right direction. Again, with them doing away with Roe v. Wade at the federal level, I think it puts some morals back into this country, which we desperately need. Now, if New York and California choose to still do this, they're an immoral state. So be it.
Right.
But at least the Fed isn't the sweeping broom that comes in and sweeps all that up. So in my opinion, it's going decent.
The Supreme Court's function is to rule based on the Constitution. That is not what happened in 1973. They did a social ruling rather than a constitutional ruling. And so all the Supreme Court did this year was take a look at it again from a constitutional point of view. There's nothing in there other than life instead of death, life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. That's in there. And so they just looked at the Constitution And this is not in here. It doesn't belong as a ruling we made. We made a mistake and we send it back to the states.
Absolutely. Let's get Rosemary here. She can't hear you, but she can hear me. Rosemary,
Yeah.
your thoughts on the overturn of Roe v. Wade, real quick, before we move to the next topic.
I'm so happy about it. I think that they have done have waited way too long to fix this, and now we just have to go through state by state and make sure that the states do what is right. And I mean, I completely understand that if there is a life threatening situation that goes on for a mom, that is something that needs to be dealt with separately and privately. But for them just to mass murder our children is completely wrong. So I am very happy that they finally got that fixed.
Absolutely. All right, ladies, we're going to move on to the next topic, which is some of the new affidavits, the new documents that you guys are ready to start putting out. I just wanted to make people aware of it, just in case anybody out there's needing help in their state for some of this stuff that you guys are working on, and then we'll show them. We'll drop the link in chat for them to go to the Affidavit Mama's website so they can reach out to you guys personally. So I'll let Denise go first, and then I'll come back to Rosemary. You want to go ahead and update us there, Denise? I mean, sorry, Deborah. Deborah.
Sure, absolutely. So I don't remember if we even talked about our LGBTQ notice the last time we were on here. I don't remember or not, but we have one of those out as well against the LGBTQ in the schools and mainly in the schools, as this whole stupidity of drag queen story hour and the whole nonsense with that. We have a notice about that out there to stop it, and then also one that's being sent to the FDA because they're trying to interfere with nutritional supplements again and say that they're medicine when it should be under food. And so we have one of those as well.
Okay. As far as the FDA goes, John Estabrooks and I were on Podbean today. I'd like to see the FDA go bye-bye, to be honest with you.
No kidding.
I think the FDA is such a sideshow of control. We were talking today about if we were to raise our own tomatoes and try to sell them to the public, how the FDA would come in and try to shut us down. That's ridiculous. That is not free enterprise. That is a dictatorship. I know that some people may agree with the FDA, but I do not. That's my opinion anyway. So the drag queen thing, real quick.
Yes.
What exactly does this document do, Deborah? Let's explain it a little bit further to some of the listeners out there. So let's just say a listener is paying attention tonight, and they have been informed that this is going on in their school, and they've got a 7-year-old kid who's about in the first or second grade that's now subject to being exposed to this type of behavior where they bring in a dresser, transgender, drag queen, whatever you want to call them. They come in, not only are they reading stories to their 7-year-old, it's not like they're coming in and reading the book Old Yeller or Where the Red Fern Grows. They're actually coming in and reading story time like Bob and Johnny want to have a baby together and they'd make two wonderful dads. Those are the type of stories that are being read to our children. So if that person is listening right now, Deborah, how is it that the Affidavit Mamas and the affidavits and the paperwork that you guys are putting together, how can that help a listener tonight?
So what it says is that they must cease and desist from anything that is not acceptable within the Constitution. And none of this transgender nonsense, none of this fluidity of genders, none of that is it found anywhere in the Constitution. In fact, what is found in many of the state constitutions is that in the Constitution itself is marriage between one man and one woman. Even in California, it's in the California Constitution. And so when you look at that, that's the basis for everything else that they're trying to say is acceptable, when it's in the Constitution that it's absolutely not. And so we're saying cease and desist from these behaviors. And it's a notice right now. It's not an affidavit yet, but we will be making it into one undoubtedly, because the school districts are like the last stronghold of evil in our world anymore. It's just bizarre how determined they are. But it also shows how determined they are to destroy our children.
Absolutely. You're spot on with that, Deborah. I'm going to go to Rosemary now. So, a cease and desist. Those type of paperworks, they go out all the time. And I hear people say, oh, yeah, I got to cease and desist. And I don't care. And that don't scare me. And I got my lawyer this and I got my lawyer that. Some people are making fun of the cease and desist. They say that it has no merit, has no weight, Rosemary. So what's the difference between a cease and a desist and an actual affidavit? So let's say that this parent is listening tonight and they sent the cease and desist, and exactly what I just said happens. The school comes back and says, oh, we had our lawyer look at it, our school lawyer look at it, and this has no merit, this has no weight. What's the difference between the cease and desist and an affidavit that would make all the difference in the world to some of these parents tonight?
Well, with an affidavit, it can be used as a court of record. And that is huge. That is way more important. But what the people have to understand is that lawyers are not there to help you anymore. Lawyers are only there to make money, and they are there to keep you going through the circle of death, so that they can keep expunging money from you in every way, shape, or form. As we've gone through this whole entire process, we've seen where all the lawyers are advising our legislature, our governors, our attorney generals with false information. It's information that they learned as they went through school, but it's going through statutes, and it's going through case law, which is not the Constitution. The Constitution is a totally different aspect, and they are not following the Constitution. Not anything that they do is inside the Constitution. So not only will our lawyers have to go back through being re-educated on the Constitution and how to use the Constitution correctly and to interpret the law through the Constitution, but all of our government officials will as well, because they don't know their Constitution either. And so if it were me personally, I would not elect anybody to any office any longer that does not know their Constitution and will not follow their Constitution. That is going to be top priority. But when you're coming through a cease and desist, and if it's written through a lawyer, there's probably going to be some loopholes and some other things that they're doing with it that is not going to hold as much weight as what an affidavit actually will do, because later on down the road, when you've used the affidavit, because it's a legal document, that you will be able to have a lot more power, and it follows the Constitution, because everything that we put in it has the Constitution in it and the rights of the people.
I love that answer. That's a great answer there, Rosemary. Deborah, would you like to add to that?
Well, yes. And the thing is that people want instantaneous results, but they don't necessarily want to be involved. And what Rosemary said is the absolute truth. Every single parent needs to be at school board meetings. Every single parent needs to be knowing who they're voting for to be on the school boards. these parents need to be running for the school board.
Yes.
If they want to see things change in their schools, they need to get involved at that level and make a difference.
Let me go back to Rosemary. I want to ask Rosemary, what is the biggest effect that the affidavit mamas to date have seen when it comes to parents getting involved in using actual affidavits? Because I know that you guys told us a story just a short few months ago where there was a ton of parents that united. They all filled out these affidavits, and we had some movement in one of the projects that you fine ladies were working on. So could you just one more time, real quickly, go over that and so that maybe we have some new listeners tonight, never been to LWN before, don't really recognize what an affidavit is, but now that you guys have kindly explained that to us, let's give them a little bit of how it really makes a difference in our fight to get our country back.
Well, with an affidavit and you serving it to your legislature, government, or school boards, you're not going to see them stand up and say, oh, we received all of these affidavits or notices from all these parents, and so now we're going to start doing what they want us to do. What you're going to see is you'll see things change, but they'll never admit that it came from you. What they're going to do is say, well, we've changed our mind, or we're going to change the way we're going to do this now. So it's all going to look like it came from them. And that's the biggest difference that you have to actually look for. So like when our governor was served, we saw within 3 days, which is our usual time limit of what we give them to actually do action, he would change some things so that it wasn't as strict as what he had initially had said. So he's not going to give anybody credit. He's going to take the credit for the changes and stuff. Well, the same thing with the legislature. We've served all of our legislature multiple times, and we now have seen bills that have gone through that have changed different things within our state to what we have told them that we wanted. So, by taking things out that aren't mandatory, to changing different other things, adding in some new laws that we have suggested that they do, as well as when we were fighting against the attorney general for the federal government there, Garland. We sent him and Jim Jordan and a bunch of them notices, and we told them that they were going against the rights of the people, and they could not do what they were doing to the parents in the school system. And Jim Jordan brought Garland up and said, are you actually doing this? And then you saw all the backpedaling going on. No, we're not doing that. No, we didn't mean that. Well, that's the results you're going to see. You're not going to see them come out and say, hey, it's those affidavit mamas, or hey, it's those parents that are sending out all these notices to us. You're just going to see them start backpedaling and changing their direction. And that's how you know it's working. It's not just in your face right out there. You've got to kind of actually be aware and look for it and see the different subtle changes that get made over time.
Right.
That is awesome. Thanks for sharing that with us, Rosemary. Because a lot of people do expect things to happen overnight, and the thing is we do see change. You just got to know how to look for it. Thank you, Becky Justice, for the coffee, and Scad Warrior. Thank you so much for the coffee as well. Really appreciate both of them. I'm going to go back to Deborah. I want to change real quick the subject, and then we're going to get to the big one that I'm looking forward to talking to tonight, which is the updates out of Arizona, Texas, Wisconsin, and PA. So we'll get to that in just a minute. But I want to talk about real quick. You ladies wanted to put out that there is new Bible study classes that you guys are part of. Could you guys explain that just a little bit? And then we're going to hit the last topic of the night.
Well, we're doing two different things. One of them is state constitution classes, where we are also showing how to write notices and affidavits. That's one thing. And so we're doing that one Thursday night, and then the opposite Thursday night. So every other Thursday night, we're starting to do a Bible study that's open to anybody in the whole United States. If they would love to join us, we would be happy to have them. And we're starting in Romans, and I'm teaching it. And I mean, a lot of people know that I'm also a pastor. So anyway, I'm teaching it, and so we're very excited about it because already we're having great questions. It's open. There's no judgment for. I mean, my motto is the only stupid question is the one that nobody asks, and so. That's how we function. We want people to join us. We're taking it slow. We're not whizzing through anything. And we're hoping that it's going to make a huge difference in people's lives. We really think it will.
That's awesome. What I wanted to spotlight was the fact that you're going to also be talking about the Constitution at the same time you're doing the Bible study. And Devil Dog puts out all the time that the Constitution was inspired and written greatly out of the Holy Bible. So
Yes.
a lot of people think that there shouldn't be God in government or religion in government. We don't have to have religion in government, but I definitely believe we need God in government. That's why we're here where we're at today, is because we decided to take him out of everything. And so that's great that you guys are doing that. I'm going to go back to Rosemary. Anything you'd like to say about that as well, Rosemary?
Well, I'm so excited that we're actually doing the Bible classes. It became apparent when we were actually sitting at dinner after an event that we had gone to, and we were talking with some of the other mamas. And I knew that they had some interest, but I told Deborah, I think maybe we should think about doing something like this. And they bombarded her for like an hour with questions of this, that, and the other thing about the Bible. And it all came just because the hunger of the people that really don't know their Bible that well. And Deborah's such an amazing teacher because she goes through it in a nice, light, format that breaks everything down so that we're talking about certain words in there and relationships to other things, and she gives us a total understanding. So it really gives everybody the opportunity not to just read the words, but understand and really benefit from the word that is coming from God and from Jesus, because it is all about them, and the Constitution was based on his word. And so you cannot have one without the other. You might not want it as far as your government is concerned. You don't want them to control you in your religious beliefs, but you have to understand the importance of the Constitution and the Bible together.
Amen.
Let me say one more thing, Mike, if you
Go
don't
for
mind.
it.
And
Go for
that is, I heard somebody say the other day, and it's absolutely the truth. There's two countries out of all the countries in the world, out of all the time of the world, that God created. Israel was one, and the United States is the other. And that is the truth. Everything that those founding fathers had heard from pastors preaching at them for the previous 50 years went into the Declaration of Independence and then into the Constitution. All the concepts that are in there, you can find them, every single one of them, in the Bible. And so it's not religion, it's God. There's a big difference.
Amen. Thank you for that. All right, here we go. Buckle up. We're going to talk about the last topic of the night, which to me is very exciting. I've been following it closely. Rosemary, we talked off screen before the show started. I'm going to go ahead and let you open this one up. And we'll just be cautious on the words that we use because old YouTube likes to do their thing. So I think everybody who's followed us so far understands what we're saying. And if not, we'll explain it to them because I see some new faces in chat. So let's go ahead and hit that topic because I got some stuff that was just sent to me during the opening as well that I want to share with everybody that ties into this as well. So go ahead,
Nice.
Rosemary.
Well, we just want to let everybody know that I think some things, major changes are going to come extremely soon. We happen to have gone to an event with somebody who, if you don't know, you should know. He's very popular. He was detrimental in our finding out about the
Instrumental.
things that
Instrumental, not detrimental.
instrumental, sorry, instrumental in giving us this information about what had happened in 2020 that we all know was done wrong. And we want to thank him, even though we can't mention his name, very much for the information that he gave us, because he has let us know that the stuff that we all thought was going on has happened. He looked at the information, and a lot of the papers that we took and filled in those little bubbles, they were done multiple times through the system. And also too that they had to remove a bunch of them because the chain of custody was broken in a huge amount of them. And so that means that Mr. T actually won by 59% and Mr. B lost with 41%. So
let me pause you for just a minute there, Rosemary.
Go ahead.
Let me catch everybody up to speed about what we're talking about. I asked the ladies to just be vague on some of their words that they're using because of the censorship from YouTube. So we're referring to the state of Arizona, and we're referring to what happened November of 2020. I know that there's been a lot of speculation. There's been recounts. There's been investigations. It's all starting to come out. What Rosemary is talking about is this ties to, which I've reported on a couple of times in the last couple of weeks. This ties into Texas also pulling their electors or getting ready to. So Arizona is also in that same camp, getting ready to do so. And there is what Rosemary told me off camera is that now it has been proven without a shadow of a doubt, there is absolutely overwhelming evidence that what happened November of 2020 absolutely happened November 2020, and that it is just, in my opinion, it's going to come fast and hard. And I don't think it's going to be one state and then the next state. I think it's going to be multiple states at a time. I think it'll be 2 or 3 and then another 2 or 3 until all 7 in question completely say, okay, we got it. This is it. And we're going to decertify. Rosemary, I'll let you pick up where you left off. And we also talked about Wisconsin, and I've reported on it. Wisconsin is still working on it. Michigan is working on it. I think PA will be the last state because I think they're the most corrupt. But to tie this together, and I'll go back to you, Rosemary, and then over to Deborah. I got messages tonight that it sounds like Georgia is getting ready to hold on a second. Georgia is getting ready to have a grand jury with subpoenas with the U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham, Jack Dempsey. I don't know. It's hard to read this this text message, but it looks like these were all filed today, July 5th, and signed by Fulton Superior Court Judge Robert McBurney, who is overseeing the special grand jury. They noted that all 7 people were necessarily and material witnesses to the investigation out of Georgia. So now Georgia has been working on this, and I know Tammy, and I know she's in the chat. Tammy has some connections with people working on the stuff in Georgia, and she's been in very close contact with them Tammy puts out the information they allow her to. They've kind of gone quiet for quite a while for the last month or so. So this to me, it's getting ready to, just like I said, I don't think it's going to be one state and then a week or two or three later another state. I think it's going to be two, three, four states all at one time, boom, and then another one, boom. And when I'm talking about this, folks, I'm talking about um, decertification, period. I think they're going to come out and they're going to pull their electors. And then I think, in my opinion, I think the Supreme Court will step in and hand down the decision. And if the Supreme Court don't, then then we could talk about TSA, and we could talk about how the TSA has received notice that they have to now go into emergency training for continuity of government. What does continuity of government have to do with it? Well, it's only my opinion, but the military has been putting assets around the country for quite a while now. And I really think that we could be looking at some type of shutdown. If you talk about TSA, that is all of the public transportation across America: buses, subways, airplanes, trains, all of it shut down. Why would they shut it down? Well, you pull the electors of the 2020 election and people go crazy, you're going to have some type of martial law. Again, it's all speculation on my part. I can't say 100% that that's exactly how it's going to unfold. But what I'm telling you tonight is we are on the precipice of it absolutely unfolding. And I think it's going to be massive when it happens. All right. Sorry, Rosemary.
It's
Go
okay.
for it.
Well, I agree with you 100%. I think that a lot of that is going to happen. I did hear about Georgia and their grand jury. I have heard about different things happening all over the place as far as the different transportation. You know, we all know that a lot of our pilots took the the vacation, and not only can they not fly, but I personally wouldn't get in a plane with one of them that did take it, because they're having bad side effects and things are happening to these pilots, and you don't want to be caught in an airplane with a pilot who is not awake. So that would be extremely, hard for me to ever do that. But as far as the 2020 November 2020 situation, I do think that, as you said, that the Supreme Court is going to come down with a ruling, because I think that there's so much information out there, and the person that helped us tremendously with ours has gone through all kinds of new ways, and he tracked every single way. It wasn't just one way that they did this injustice to the American people. It was multiple ways, so that nothing would stand out in a large amount. So you have to do it undercover, basically, and you hit here and there and you spread it out throughout your area. So you do with mules, and you do with the paper, and you do with other things, but they have so many different things that have come into play. I mean, we have nonprofits that are involved with this, nonprofits that were the ones handing out the papers, and that were actually giving them multiples to be able to put out there and do what they've done. But the paper itself was not the way it was supposed to be. It wasn't the thickness, it wasn't the type, it wasn't made from the same manufacturer. They went all the way back into that as well. So we know that there's tons and tons of stuff that will be thrown out, that will be taken off the books. And by knowing all of these different things, we have other things that we can look at. So I know Deborah and I both have gone to poll observer things. We're both signed up. We're both going to be involved. We're both going to the polls. We're going to watch, and we're going to make sure that things don't go wrong in our primary. And then we'll see what happens when we get closer to this November. But I say something big will happen before that. Something big is going to happen before this November coming up, and you're going to see so many changes that you will not know. But they also have a particular distinction on the paper that they're going to be putting there, so that people will know instantly whether or not this is not real good paper, or whether it is the paper that it's supposed to be, that we, you know, fill in those bubbles.
I'll go to Deborah next. Go ahead, Deborah.
Well, so this same person that Rosemary's talking about told us that there were at least 109 different ways that things did not get done properly in November 2020. 109 different ways that they changed things around at that time so that the results would be the way they wanted them to be. And so, I mean, it's just mind boggling. And the other thing that we found out was, which we know, but it's like verified now, is that this has been going on for years, not just this time. It's been going on for years. And they've just been increasing the anomalies of things more and more. And they were desperate for this particular November 2020 situation enough to just like throw them all in there at the same time in order to achieve the results that they wanted. It's just if you let it be, it could get depressing. But at the same time, I'm absolutely convinced, right along with you.
I'm excited.
Well, that's what I was going to say is I'm convinced that this is it. We now know, and that's what this man was saying that we were listening to, was this is a gift. This is a gift of knowledge that we didn't have before, that now we have, and now we know what to look for, and we open our eyes and we see what's going to happen, and they may quote unquote decertify, or they may actually nullify, because something that's done unlawfully is not done at all.
You're correct on that. Yes, I did see the video that went out over the weekend about the EBS that happened in DC. That was sent to me. Very odd. One of my people said that there is a person there in DC that's been there a very long time, high up in the government, never seen anything like it the whole time they've been there. So kind of a anomaly, if you would want to put it in that category. Why would they have to run an EBS in DC like that? I'm not sure. I would say it probably would have to do something with maybe possibly the Supreme Court handing down a decision and people going crazy, and that intercom system has to work properly. You know, heavy movers all over the country for months now, putting, like I said, military assets in certain positions for a reason. I think it's, I mean, look at the summer of blood of 2020. Look at all the nonsense that happened. Do you think for 1 second they're going to allow that to happen again? I personally don't think so. There's just too much going on right now for people to stand on the sidelines and stick their hands in their pockets and say nothing going on here. There is a lot going on here, and it is evident each and every day. It's coming out so fast, it's hard to keep up. That happened. We saw the little motorcade that went down through DC. That wasn't Hollywood, wasn't even close to Hollywood. What that was all about, people are still talking about that, still confused about why would they have an unmarked motorcade going through DC with a cameraman on top of one of the vans. It's hard to say. It's not Hollywood, I can tell you that. Was it Biden? A lot of people said, oh, that was Biden in there. Well, how could he be in there and be at Camp David at the same time? That's odd. You know, I think I don't put dates on anything, but I think we have to have something to reverse what happened November 2020 before midterms. Now, if that doesn't happen after midterms, I don't know where that leaves us. I think we're going to win the midterms by a landslide. Deborah made comment that in 2020 they had to throw the kitchen sink at everything because there was too many people that showed up that voted for T.
Yeah.
So what do you think? What do you think 2022 is going to be like for the midterms? You have Democrats that have now signed up for the Republican ticket because they plan on voting for somebody other than a Democrat in 2020 midterms. So is it going to be bigger in 2020 than or 2022 than 2020? I believe so. I don't believe they're going to have enough machines or enough paper to course correct anything that's going to happen in
No.
2022. I think it's going to be so obvious that America is not putting up with this nonsense anymore. That they're gonna have the last say come November of 2022. That's just my opinion.
Right.
Well, and I had heard that alarm went off 3 times in DC. So that is even more strange. 3 times in one morning that they said that they put that alert out there. But yes, I think with the things that they've put into place and the situations that we all know about, I think that you're going to find that the turnout is going to be off the charts. I think that you're going to have a landslide going across with everybody. I just don't see how they're going to be able to get away with it because it's out there. I think everybody's going to be watching. Even here, we have one of our sheriffs who's joined with the True the Vote, and they are linking together so that you can be a part of the sheriffs notifying if there's something going on. We also have ways through the poll watching that we have places that we can call instantaneously if we see anything that's going on, and they'll get somebody out there right away to take care of an issue. So I think that the chances of them being able to do something at a poll is much harder. And I think that people are going to, I've heard tons of people that said that they were going to be out videotaping these drop boxes and everybody that's going.
You're going to have millions of people.
Yeah.
You're going to have people with tents and sleeping bags laying right next to the drop boxes. There'll be people at the voting stations. There'll be so many cameras out there. The internet will probably crash. Because people are recording or live streaming what happens in November of this year. I'm going to go back to Deborah here. A lot of people in the chat is chattering big time right now. It is truly amazing to see the direction that this is finally starting to shift. And we talk about the shift. We talk about flipping the switch. We talk about all of it here at LWN, because I think it's important for all of us to gather as much information we possibly can. But I saw a comment in chat about the TSA document that was created in 2012. Yes, it was created in 2012, but why now? Why now is it now being implemented? It just seems awful strange to me that this thing has been around for a good, 8, 9, 10, 11 years. And now, just now, they're deciding that they're going to implement that and put all of TSA through an emergency course to educate them on what continuity of government is. Jeff B talks about continuity of government all the time, has been on the show multiple times talking about it. We've had other panelists talk about it as well. I think that we've been in a strange situation since Mr. T got on that plane and flew away and said, I'll be back, basically. And I don't think he's ever truly left. I think he's been here the whole time. Yep. There's 2 realities that we live in. And I think we're going to get the better of the 2, because I could tell you the reality that we live in right now, where gas is $10 a gallon. The shelves are bare. We got a guy who can't walk upstairs or ride a bike. We got a VP who's nowhere to be seen. And the dumpster fire of an administration that's going on right now, that's not the reality I voted for, not the reality that I want. So I want the other reality, which is God first, America first, make America great again. Trump is back in office and America is flourishing and everybody is happy.
Well,
Yes.
and you also have to understand that a lot of the plants that have been destroyed, they've been destroyed for multiple reasons. They've been destroyed because they're doing food wrong for the people. They're actually putting very bad chemicals inside the food products that we're eating. And what better way to start over or start clean than if you remove the entities that are actually harming the people with the chemicals and bad things that are going into our food supply. Plus the fact that, they're they I had just heard that the where the all those cows went down, that was they did their water. They polluted their water to do that to those cows. But there is a major bad uh bioweapons lab that wants to move from where it is in another country up to that area where those cows were killed. So you can see that something is happening. I don't know if that will be allowed or not, but we have to make sure that we clean the slate. We have to get rid of all the bad food that we've been eating. We have to get rid of all the chemicals and stuff that have been put into our bodies. I mean, fluoride is extremely bad for you. It kills your thyroid. It hurts your pituitary gland. I mean, and these are all the things that we need to stop using these products. And what better way to do that than to actually just eliminate these sources, to redo the market, redo the food supply, redo the things correctly that we need to do.
Deborah, you want to go
Well,
at it?
it needs to be a clean sweep. I've thought for months now, how are we going to get the medical profession to get back on track where they ought to be, instead of doing what they've done for the last year and a half, which is not a good thing. I mean, they've completely changed away from their Hippocratic oath toward whatever, the Doctor Strange or whatever it is. I mean, they're completely off track, and so are a bunch of the other industries. And so, I mean, it's mind-boggling in one regard, that how many people need to have their brains redirected in another direction, but it's also possible. And I mean, I think we're probably all far more awake than we've ever been in our lives. I know I am. And I'm far more informed than I've ever been in my life.
Yes.
And so, and that's a good thing. That's what we all need to be doing.
Absolutely. The whole cattle thing, I did see quite a few other people talking about it. And working in the alfalfa when I was a kid in high school, I do know moisture in alfalfa makes friction, which causes heat. And some of those cattle, I think I seen a part where they fed them something that really internally in their stomach ended them. But that's not to say that there haven't been other cows destroyed. I know chickens, turkeys have been destroyed. Food processing plants have been down, burned down, destroyed. So, regardless of some cows maybe died because of I don't even know what you would call that, a mistake on management's part when it comes to feeding them. There is still a lot going on with our food here in this country that I think everybody should be very concerned about and alarmed and just pay attention. The biolab, I just got a text. The biolab seems to already be there 350 miles away. So I got somebody who's actually in contact with some of these places that we're talking about right now. And it's I don't know about the biolab. I don't know if I want biolabs around
No,
me anywhere close,
no.
for that matter. So just information that I think we all need to pay attention to.
Yeah. Well, and we all need to be far more involved in what's being authorized, what's being permitted, what's being allowed within the communities. We've been lazy, and it's not. There's no time to be lazy right now.
No, it's time to get in the fight.
Yeah.
It's man, we're winning. We're winning on all fronts. I know there are some people that want to stand there and say nothing is happening, but you're wrong, man. We are winning so many different fronts. The Supreme Court alone, if that has nothing more than just motivated some of us even more to continue the fight to see the Supreme Court overturn things, I think is a great win for morale, if nothing else.
Yes.
So that encourages people at the state level. I know D Dog is in the chat as well, and his saying is always get to know your sheriff, and I totally agree with him. Make sure your sheriff is constitutional. If he is not, then you better start coming up with a game plan on how to replace him with a constitutional sheriff. I like how you ladies said that before November of this year, start getting your sheriff involved on what their game plan is going to be when it comes to election night
Right.
in November of 2022.
Right.
They should be on board for any criminal activity. They should be on top of it. If we're seeing criminal activity at a drop box or a voting center or whatever, your constitutional sheriff should be on speed dial, and they should answer the call immediately and come down and investigate and find out what's going on. We 80 million patriots across America are no longer going to put up with what happened in November of 2020. I'll be out there with my camera. We will have millions and millions of people with eyes on the prize for every second. Hey, there's enough of us that we don't need to go to bed and take a little nappy. There'll be somebody to take our place when we need to and there's none of this counting for weeks and weeks and weeks. It will all happen on election night, or we're not going to put up with it.
Right.
Well, and another thing that we heard was they're going to have people that come and pick up our ballots. Ooh, sorry, the papers.
You're all right.
And they're going to transport them to a place that actually counts them. And then from there, they're going to be transported again to this other place. They're going to check the signatures at one, and then the counting at another one. Where
What
do
could
you
go
think
wrong? What could
all
go wrong?
of it is going to happen? It's going to possibly happen between one place and another place and another place. So it's not necessarily going to happen where you think it will. So be prepared. Keep your eyes on the prize, and make sure that if you have the opportunity to, like here, being even a poll watcher, you can literally inform the people that are transporting those papers from one place to another that you're going to follow them. And if you see anything going on, or if they make a different turn, or if they go someplace that they're not supposed to be going, then I would definitely be on the phone. You don't have to engage them at all. You just have to make that phone call and let them know, hey, this place, they didn't stop where they were supposed to, or they took a wrong turn, or whatever. This needs to be checked out, because if you're watching all the angles, it's going to be much harder for them to do anything that we don't want them to do.
Amen. And we got it all from 2020. True the Vote and Greg Phillips. They've got it all, and they're putting it out. The 2K Donkey movie says it all, and they've proven it. It's right there on video for you guys. One of the comments in chat. I think a lot of states have changed. I think the last count was somewhere around 16 states that are now going to demand and should have demanded, and I think some of them even went around it for 2020, is ID, voter ID, period. And I think we need paper ballots, and let's just get back to the basics. That's where we need to be. And I don't think there should be one state in the union that doesn't require voter ID, period. It's just it's what we need to do. We got to get back to
insanity to do anything else. I mean, why would we not require IDs? I mean, that's just stupidity.
Amen.
Well,
you guys want to
the ruling that came down to that you can't have the people that are coming, across our border able to vote. I think that is huge. I think that'll help an awful lot with some of this that's going down.
I want to show you guys something beautiful real quick. You want to see something beautiful?
Sure.
All right, check this out. I want to show you guys. Miles Franklin right here just sent this to me. The 2022 silver Britannicas are only $4.50 above spot. So look at this, 1926 plus 450, not including shipping. Those beautiful coins right there are $23.76 a coin right now, roughly. And if you guys are interested in a coin like that, you can check it out at info@milesfranklin.com. Use promo code Liberty Warrior Nation. Right now is the best time to buy silver. It's under $20 an ounce. Thanks for sending that to me, Andy. I appreciate it. You know, we are going to take this country back. And my goal as a father and hopefully someday a grandfather is I'm going to educate my children on what happened in 2020 and years prior, decades prior. I want my kids to know it. I'm going to tell my grandkids about it. And I'm going to let them know that this is something that when I hand the baton to them, when I hand the torch to them, that they've got to carry this fire in their belly for the next generation and the next generation, and let them know that this is something that we can never allow to happen again, and that we have to encourage our children and our grandchildren to have the strength and the courage to always stand up for what's right, even if you're the only one standing. And I just that is a life mission. If it's my last dying breath, I want to make sure that my kids know how important it is for us as patriots to really unite and have a strong voice and pay attention and not just stick our heads in the sand and let this ever happen again, because this is truly a tragedy what's happening to America right now before our eyes. We've seen so much immoral acts. We've seen cheating. We've seen so much happen over the decades that we will not allow it to stand any longer.
No. Well, and it requires a moral population. It requires a population that's standing on God. Otherwise, what's the moral base? And so we really do need to return to God.
Amen. Well, ladies, we'll go ahead and roll into final thoughts. I really appreciate the two of you joining me this evening and giving us those updates. I really would like to make sure that we stay on top of Arizona and Texas, because they're the two first steps, in my opinion, of what will transpire to reverse 2020. So we want to stay in tune with that. And I really appreciate both of you joining us this evening. So I'll go to Rosemary first, since she can't hear you, Deborah. I'll let Rosemary go first with her final thought.
Okay.
Well, we just, like always, want to make sure that everybody understands that we're here for you. We know that things are rough and things are hard right now, but there are things in place that are going on that we can't see, and that we are just not sure of. And the best thing to do is to constantly, go to God. He'll answer you. It might not be always the answer you want to hear, because believe you me, I've gotten a lot of answers I didn't expect, but he will answer you. He will protect you. He will provide for you. And we will do the same. If you guys need us, we're here with affidavits. We're here with notices. If you have any questions, you can contact us through an email, and that's at affidavitmamas2021@gmail.com. But also know, and it's something that we didn't touch on today, but we can always come back and talk about it, is we started a PMA, which is a private membership association. And I know Mike wants to get into that, and we can definitely talk about that.
Let's talk about that. Yeah, let's talk about that on the next show. Let's put that at the top of the agenda, because I think it's important for people to understand how they can take back their country. We don't need the government to do it for us. We have the power. We are the people. I can't say it any louder than that. We the people, we own them. They don't own us. So
exactly.
We'll talk about that on the next one, Rosemary. I completely forgot about that.
It's okay.
But
no problem.
Thanks for the comment. Appreciate it. Deborah, your final thought?
So there's just a massive amount of stuff going on. Don't lose track of your hope. Don't lose track of what grounds you. It needs to be God. It needs to be confidence that we are the people and we do have the power, and it is in the Constitution, and we stand on those things. And like Rosemary said, we are here to help. We do, just as an aside, we also do help with families who are having child protective service problems. So that's another whole area that we haven't even talked about at all. And so that's something else that people can contact us if they need to.
Okay. Well, let's bring that up in the next update as well. Let's talk about that. How you how the group can help people with child protective services. I think that's important for
Yes.
parents and grandparents both out there to have
Yes.
that understanding and that information. So here's
Yeah.
my final thought for tonight. Stand tall, chin up. God wins. We got this, folks, and
Yes.
it is going to be a wonderful and beautiful thing when we get to the other side of this ugly, because it seems very ugly right now, but I promise you it gets a whole lot better if we just stay the course and keep the faith. Love y'all. Thanks for joining us, ladies, and God bless.
God bless you.
Bye.
Hoping for a sincere performance, but open to finding the moment, to finding out where I'm headed now. Looking for a sign of disaster, so I can make it there faster. I'm weighing the consequences out. I can see in all directions. It's all open to interpretation, but I see colors that are breaking from the other side, the other side. When I make mountains out of summer trails, when I buckle under all the details, I'll keep going till I make it to the other side, the other side. Can you tell me the secret of how you can take it or leave it? How you can blend in with the crowd? I'm so scared, so damn afraid to look. I'm so sick of talking. I'm wearing the words out, words out. I can see in all directions. It's all open to interpretation, but I see colors that are breaking from the other side, the other side. When I make mountains out of summer trails, when I buckle under all the details, I'll keep going till I make it to the other side, the other side. When it feels like everyone's out to get me, I see the river on the